They say that you can never truly know someone, regardless of how much time you spend with them or how many years they've been in your life. And this can certainly be said for Aaron Oxlade, a 32-year-old convicted predator from Northampton, a fiancé and father of 2 who somehow, some way, became a paedophile, and someone who, for nearly 30 years, I considered my best friend. This is some prick called Aaron.
Hi. Hi guys, I'm Aaron, and today with my good friend Rob here.
As well as messing around with my good friend Rob in my previous video.
Hi guys, I'm Aaron.
Hi guys, I'm Aaron. Hi guys, I'm Aaron.
Hi guys, I'm Aaron. Hi guys, I'm Aaron.
Hi guys, I'm Aaron. Hi guys, I'm Aaron.
Hello, I'm Aaron. Might have a word with my mate who I was filming round when I was first doing my videos. Rob, Cinematic Venom, his channel. He also started a new channel recently, Seeking Answers.
You've got a new best friend, mate.
Hey!
Someone has to like you.
Aaron Robert Oxlade was born on April the 28th, 1991, the eldest of 3 children with quite a significant age gap. I first met him around 1995 in nursery, and as we went through primary and middle school together, we quickly became best friends, bonding over our similar humour, video games, wrestling, and our extremely similar upbringings. After everything happened, I saw a lot of people say, well, yeah, look at him. He obviously looks like the type, and I think it's very easy to say that in hindsight, after the fact, but that wasn't the person that I thought that I knew. The guy that I had become friends with was really, really funny. Sometimes a dark sense of humour like myself, but he just really cracked me up. He had kind of no shame in the sense that he could walk in public and just kind of shout something randomly. Wouldn't really care about attention being brought to himself. We were both bullied in school, so I think both being the social outcasts helped us kind of connect. We used each other as a rock, kind of brought us closer together, I think, as well as we kind of had a similar upbringing, very similar childhoods. I did notice as a child and growing into adulthood, his mother, I never had a problem with his mum. She was always nice to me, but she never came across as someone particularly nurturing. She didn't really come across as a very maternal person. But as a child, because I was experiencing similar things in my own home, I didn't really question it as a kid. It wasn't until years later when certain other things happened or came out that I started to look back and really notice. However, in 2004, we both parted ways as we ended up attending different high schools. During this time, his mother actually remarried and ended up having 2 more children over a decade after Aaron was born. We wouldn't reunite again until 2009, where we'd meet up a few times before I would spend a short stint over in the United States, returning in January the following year. We quickly reconciled as best friends again, and Aaron now had a partner who I also really got along well with. This was his first real relationship. But it was around this time when things began to go wrong. In April 2011, Aaron's partner was feeling incredibly low and depressed, so I innocently invited her round to my place as a friend to comfort her. However, on April the 9th, this caused huge outrage by him, believing that something was going on between us. Aaron was conflicted with his partner and another girl that he had previously been talking to online, so I called him out on his actions. The thing was, he didn't really have an issue with me. He thought that we had slept together, but all of his anger and his whole outburst was towards her. He was absolutely fine with me, but I just really didn't appreciate the allegation, and I just didn't agree with how he was talking to his partner. So I did step in and confronted him about it and corrected him. It was like, nothing happened, and you shouldn't be talking to your girlfriend like this. By April the 17th, the couple seemed back on good terms, Aaron even discussing plans to move in together. summer, and by the next year he even mentioned proposing. However, by December 2012, things began to get worse when his uncle was accused of sexual assault by one of his friends, who claimed to have been crashing at his place only to be awoken with him on top of him, attempting to perform oral sex. Now, Aaron didn't get along well with this uncle and frequently confided in me that he just didn't like the guy. But regardless of these allegations, his aunt decided to stay with him anyway. I fully believed the allegation. It came from a reliable source. And I actually went with the victim to the police to report this with the uncle's identity and address, and nothing could be done due to insufficient evidence. The thing is, I do a lot of these videos about other people, cases, and never once did I ever imagine that this would happen to someone I knew and I was so close with. Never once, not once did that ever enter my mind. In March 2013, Aaron's first child entered the world, a little boy, whose name, as well as his mother's, shall remain anonymous. Just a few months afterwards, on June the 12th, 2013, we had planned to begin shooting a movie with Aaron being the primary person required on set at all times the following day. But after 8 months of preparation, he cancelled just a few hours before we were due to begin. This was a shoot that involved people travelling from across the country, and he had now sabotaged it at the very last minute, due to issues between myself and the aforementioned uncle. Due to this, Aaron and I didn't speak for months. On August the 8th, I reached out to try to make amends but received no response. A reoccurring theme again on July the 2nd the following year. We wouldn't be on good terms again until July the 28th, 2015. And all seemed good until November the 10th the following year, when Aaron confided in me that a completely different uncle had made a lot of his side of the family incredibly uncomfortable. It turns out that Aaron's mother had introduced this uncle to a much younger woman, and they soon began an awkward relationship, but I'm unaware of the specific details of this. It was towards the end of 2016 when Aaron decided to follow in my footsteps and even set up his own YouTube channel. He had appeared in my videos for years, but this was the first time that he decided to try it out himself, despite being very insecure, self-conscious, and extremely nervous on camera. Aaron, over the years, he was incredibly supportive of me and YouTube, and I always wanted someone to kind of share this journey with, and it seemed like it was going to be him. He really believed in me, he really believed in what I was trying to create, and I thought that Aaron would do really well doing this because I knew him personally. He had great sense of humour, he had great passion, just very little discipline. And he was incredibly nervous and shy in front of a camera, but I really believed that if he pushed past that, he could have really excelled doing what I do.
War Thunder is a World War II inspired MMORPG. Bollocks, and I've already cocked up on my intro.
When I first started the channel, I wasn't really in the best place in my personal self, but the channel for me became a bit of a distraction, and while I was recording videos, I was having a great time, and it actually helped me and dragged me out of my slump. Then it came to Christmas. Just after I released the Happy Wheel video, there was a break in between recording. I enjoyed the break, but I was also excited to get back.
At some point during all of this, Aaron's partner actually fell pregnant with twins. Unfortunately, they would lose them due to a miscarriage. It would only continue on New Year's Eve 2016, when the father of Aaron's siblings tragically suffered a heart attack, though he did recover. Things didn't get any better, however, as his mother's ex-boyfriend sadly lost his brother, and on January the 16th, 2017, Aaron attended his funeral. It would only continue on June the 21st that same year, when his mother was faced with a breast cancer scare, and they had to await further tests. Not to mention that during all of this, at some point, Aaron's brother and sister were removed from his mother's home and put into foster care. When I questioned Aaron about the reason behind this, he replied, "Because she's a fucking idiot. That's why." I remember one instance where Aaron's mother had a huge emotional outburst I was in the room when it happened, in front of Aaron's partner's parents, the in-laws, with their little baby boy like in her arms. It was just a huge outburst and kicked them out of the house. And I remember thinking at the time, like with cigarette smoke and everything in the house, and I just remember thinking this isn't the best environment to raise a child. But Aaron and his partner themselves seemed like decent parents, and I never saw anything from either of them that showed that they weren't capable or competent parents. But that particular instance with Aaron's mother that did raise an eyebrow.
A lot of stuff happened in my personal life, and I only do this as a hobby, and I really do enjoy it.
Strangely, on July the 22nd, Aaron began having second thoughts about his relationship with his partner, and actually considered moving out and living back with his mother to try to save money. It was only a couple of weeks later when I met up with him and we filmed one of the first ever episodes of Seeking Answers up in Boughton Cemetery on August the 8th, followed by, on September the 6th, the first case of Lydia Atley. He seemed a lot more comfortable doing the ghost hunts. I think maybe it was because there were more of us. And he was very entertaining in them. He really enjoyed this stuff. And it was great to have him on board. But that was kind of where it started to go wrong. It was not long after these episodes were shot where we fell out for another time, as I had become fed up with Aaron's tendencies to make promises to meet up, but consistently cancel or disappear with no explanation. Over the years, this was a frequent occurrence, but I simply always boiled it down to him being incredibly introverted, with him enjoying his own space. Now, I know it seems unlikely because I put myself on the internet for everybody to see, but off camera I am very, very antisocial and introverted. So when Aaron would frequently disappear without reason and without explanation, I just boiled it down to that. I just thought he was just like me and he just needed space. But on the other hand, I thought it was weird for him to cut me off in particular, because it seemed like I was the one who kept him grounded when he didn't want to talk to anyone else. So it was frustrating that I couldn't get a hold of him, but it just became normal. Didn't really question it. We wouldn't talk again until November the 7th the following year. But this is where it all, tragically, went downhill. At some point in 2018, Aaron began accessing child pornography, and his internet provider flagged it as inappropriate content. But I was completely unaware of what he had been viewing, and this wasn't even raised to the radar of the authorities just yet. On December the 3rd, 2018, Aaron's partner became pregnant once again, just 6 days later, and they did have another potential miscarriage scare. By the 13th, they were awaiting more scan results and had another hospital appointment booked in, but only to add to his list of growing issues. On December the 19th, 2018, Aaron's maternal grandfather tragically passed away. But weirdly, on December the 22nd, Aaron disclosed to me that he was actually banned from the funeral by his mother's side of the family, but he didn't disclose the reason for this. I have always wondered in my head, since going through these old messages, what could he have done to potentially be disowned by his family? Were they aware? It's things that have raced through my memory. I've thought of every possible outcome, every possible scenario. It's not healthy. It's driven me insane, thinking who knew, who could have stopped this. Thankfully, on January the 24th, 2019, they got the confirmation that their baby was perfectly healthy. And on February the 28th, I began spending the next 2 months meeting up with him to shoot a movie project that I was filming at the time. On March the 20th that same year, we also began our own wrestling channel together, with me having absolutely no idea what was happening behind his closed doors. Okay guys, so today's the first day of filming of Ready to Stumble. Aaron is literally just about to show up. Remember, he didn't show up for the first movie, so I'm gonna proper milk this. So you're actually showing up for this movie then? We're off to a better start this time, are we?
Yeah.
It is February the 28th, 2019, and we are now recording with audio. Yay!
We're off to a great start! March 14th. It's around 1:30, I think.
About that, yeah.
April 3rd.
And here we are on April the 7th, and this is what this looks like. He looks normal, and I'm dressed as Kick-Ass. So this...
Is the lighting actually alright?
Now that you mentioned it, no, not really. We could do with a studio light. I don't know, I mean, you tell me, but I'd say we need the light. The fucking ground is uneven as fuck. I almost tripped over like 3 times.
How do you think filming of the greatest comic book adaptation is going?
I'd say it's going rather swimmingly.
He seemed like the same normal Aaron. There was no signs of anything. He was excited for the project, excited to shoot all of this stuff, really keen. You know, I was doing well on YouTube at the time. He was really eager to help progress the channel, and it was a lot of fun. He took it seriously. There was quite literally no signs of anything being out of the ordinary. The thing with me and Aaron is that we both grew up with similar upbringings, and with our dark humours in our early to mid-20s, you know, we had that phase that I think a lot of people go through where they make dark jokes to try to be edgy or whatever. But as I grew older, I kind of outgrew that phase, and it seemed like Aaron never did. He would say some horrifically racist and inappropriate things that, looking back, yeah, I think I was just friends with him for so long that I felt an illogical loyalty to the guy, and I really regret not calling him out on it. I wish I had, whether it be confronting him directly about what he was saying, or just cutting ties completely. Not only do you never really truly know a person, but if someone's doing something like that, you should call them out on it and correct their behaviour, otherwise it could lead to worse stuff. The thing is, despite the dark humour, despite the dark jokes, the racist stuff he said, there was never once a moment where he made a joke about children that made me think that he was the type of person who could do or be interested in this kind of thing. There was never.
I hate you.
What?
For what you just done, off camera by the way.
What did I do, Aaron?
You've sort of bent down and started pulling at your trousers. There's me trying to be oh so serious, like, I can't afford to laugh again mid-shot. Just all bending down, pulling at your...
Today we'll be taking a look at Emily Wants to Play. That's right, I'm so popular, even little girls want to play with me.
Turn down for what?
And also, I can't look at little girls in the same way anymore.
I spent nearly 30 years with this guy as my best friend. I trusted him to babysit my children. I went to school with this guy for so many years. And then as adults, I babysit his kids, he babysit my kids. We lived like 10 seconds away from one another, and there was no indication whatsoever that he was this type of person. Unfortunately, I would later discover online comments from him suggesting so. At some point after May the 12th, 2019, Aaron Oxlade was arrested at his home, but I would have no idea about this for the next 2 years. He would later claim that his internet provider had reported inappropriate content to the police, who arrived at his home unannounced and only blamed him as he was the male of the house before arresting him. He just vanished. And at the time, obviously my primary concern was the movie that we were shooting because he was the cameraman. So that had to be put on hold. But again, it was normal for Aaron, so it was a bit annoying. but I just couldn't get a hold of him. For months, I didn't know where he was or what had happened. I'd later find out that on July the 18th, 2019, just 2 months after his arrest, his girlfriend gave birth to their second child, a little girl. For the next 2 years, it was a bizarre experience. I couldn't get a hold of him virtually, but I would occasionally see him in the store that I worked at the time. He would come in looking a bit anxious, and he would tell me that something happened, that he was forced to move out of his flat and he had to go and live with his mother again. But he didn't want to tell me what happened until it was either cleared out, like cleared and dealt with and over, or until we could properly sit down and he could go over everything. I had no idea what had happened, and I could only wait 2 years. I didn't expect or think anything remotely what had actually happened did happen. Thought never entered my mind because I thought that I knew him. So, at most, I probably just assumed that him and his partner broke up or something. I wasn't prepared. I wouldn't find out the truth, or what he claimed to be the truth, until October the 30th, 2021.
Okay, so I've danced around it enough. So in May 2019, I was arrested and my devices were seized. Apparently Virgin Media told the police someone at the flat accessed child pornography. I have a dick, so obviously, it's me. The intel was from August 2018, so great work, police. They've checked some of my devices, phones, tablet, etc. Haven't found jack shit, but because lockdown, they've yet to go through my big things. PC, laptop, etc. It's nigh on been 3 years, but because of the nature of the accusation, social services got involved. I voluntarily moved out. More or less the social worker pushed it, and my life is in perpetual limbo. Was hoping it would be done by now, hence why me and said we'd hope to be there with you in London. I have faith in so not her, but that doesn't stop someone else accessing our Wi-Fi. Even the police said that themselves, but they got intel, so investigate they must. They just decided me first because penis. Yes, even I don't know. You think I've not been thinking that for the last 2.5 years? This is why I've been sitting on it. I don't want people knowing, because the second accusations get thrown like that, guilty till proven innocent. I was waiting for the police to conclude their investigation. Why would I sit around for 2.5 years denying it and risking my kids going into care if I had any on any of my devices? I'd have cracked by now. I get it, you're skeptical and I understand. I wasn't hiding it because I don't trust you, but you're my oldest friend and I don't want you thinking that of me, and I know you probably are. That bothers me, I must admit, but I also understand. I get you completely. I'm not asking you to believe me if you don't want to. That's completely fine, but give me a chance to clear my name first before you go nuclear. What I'm trying to say is, if you're not comfortable contacting me, don't, and I won't contact you till things have progressed to the point my name's cleared. This is what I've been waiting for. This is also why I haven't really contacted you since the investigation started. 1, as I said, I didn't want you knowing. 2, there's only something dancing around I could do till you rumbled me. But give me a chance. If that's not good enough, then I'm completely cool with that as well. Go ahead and block me. I get it. Balls in your court, mate.
Initially, I was taken aback by what he said, because I couldn't wrap my mind around how someone else could access that kind of content on your Wi-Fi. It didn't make any sense to me. And I spoke to my partner who works in childcare, and we were both, you know, raising an eyebrow like, this seems sketchy. But I've known him since I was, well, like 4. After a day or so, I was like, no, there's no way. There's no way that this dude who I've known all my life, almost all my life, would be watching that kind of stuff. When you've spent this much time with someone and you feel like you know them inside and out and you put so much trust in them, you don't think for a single solitary second that they could be capable of this. So I chose to believe him. And I'm sorry for that. On November the 1st, 2021, I visited Aaron at his mother's house, and he came across as a dishevelled mess. He was clearly distraught, he was clearly anxious, but Other than that, it just seemed like Aaron. He seemed completely genuine. He came across to me as a normal man who had been falsely accused of paedophilia. After meeting him, I was even further cemented inside my brain that he was innocent. On November the 9th, just 8 days later, he claimed that the case was nearly sorted and that his name had almost been cleared, to the point that he was in transition to move back to his own place. On November the 15th, I met up with him again to go and film some on-location stuff for the second Lydia Attlee video. During this encounter, we spoke a lot, and Aaron even joked and almost scoffed at the idea of him being a paedophile, which only further secured my belief that he was completely innocent. This would be the final time that I would ever see him. That day has raced through my memory so many times, because I'd later find out that what I'd later find out that he had already done before getting in my car. And the angry side of me just wishes I knew, because I would have done some stuff to him that would have prevented all of this from continuing. And I know that I would have then spent time inside, but a part of me thinks it would have been worth it. It's taken a long time for me to come to terms with that last day. That was the last time I ever saw him, and there was still no signs, no indication, and I've gone through my memories. If there were signs and I just didn't pick up on them, should I have known? Everything changed on November the 18th when he cancelled plans with me and claimed that he's taking social services to court as they paid an unexpected visit to his partner's flat and found supposed prohibited images of children, which is when he and his girlfriend decided to separate. He claimed that it was innocent anime characters who looked young but weren't, though I would later discover this comment on his Steam account. On December the 6th, still maintaining his innocence, Aaron told me that things were all up in the air and he was unsure what to do next. The next day he stated that he's now seeking legal advice, even citing previous convicts who were found guilty but were still allowed to live with their children. Willing to help in any way imaginable, on December the 13th I took down his partner's number to be of any assistance during all of this with her and her kids, and on Christmas Day Aaron made a passing mention of the daughter of his mother's partner, which in hindsight could have been a potential sign, but I honestly just didn't think anything of it at the time. On New Year's Eve, things between us seemed relatively normal as he sent me standard New Year's messages, but on January the 15th, 2022, he claimed that he was still waiting for his family solicitor, claiming to have become more and more isolated throughout this entire ordeal, still refusing to believe that my best friend of nearly 30 years was guilty of possessing indecent images of children. On February the 3rd, 2022, I invited him along to a marathon that I was running, but I wouldn't get a response until March the 20th, over a month later, in which he cancelled the meeting claiming that he was really struggling and proceeded to commend me for my recent efforts in life. This continued throughout March and April. Any attempt to meet up was received with a decline, and the last time I would ever hear from Aaron Oxlade was on April the 6th, 2022. For the next 3 months, I would frequently try to reach out and contact him, but I received absolutely no response. During this period, I had actually begun to reevaluate my friendship with him anyway. None of it was to do with the allegations, because I still refused to believe that he was capable of anything like that. I really disapproved with how he treated his partner. He would stay up gaming from what we thought was gaming until the early hours of the morning and then sleep all day while she worked to support, at the time, their one child.
He starts school in September and his mum works. So the idea is, while he's at school and on the days that his mum's got work, I'll be able to film here
He would always make harsh, disgusting remarks about her body and pass them off as humour. He passed it off as it's just a joke, and she claimed at the time that she was okay with it. But looking back, I should have done more. In addition to all of the racist stuff, I just kind of agreed at this point to myself that I didn't really want to be friends with this individual anymore. And that was before I even found out the truth. In September 2022, Aaron faced some kind of criminal conviction, but the details weren't made public and they remain a mystery, supposedly involving a young girl. It wasn't until January 2023 when a 13-year-old girl informed her mother that she had been speaking with Aaron explicitly for the last 2 years and that they had even been having sex. It wasn't until March the 7th, 2 months later, when he was finally located on the phone, but he wasn't willing to hand himself in.
Aaron, the other thing though is, mate, I know there's other people here that are worried about you, right?
The crime I'm going to get charged with carries a life sentence, doesn't it?
You're jumping the gun a bit there, mate, aren't you? You're jumping the gun, right? Your mum's here, she
He's younger than the age of 13, and the last I checked, I would probably be charged with having sexual intercourse with a minor under the age of 13. Carries a life term.
But we do need to speak to you about that, and you know that.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we just meet you now so that we can just talk to you about it?
Like I said, I need to process. Okay, I'm about to lose the rest of my life, so I need to take some time for myself.
Okay.
I'm sure you can appreciate that.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Your mum's...
My most abject fear right now is that I know the second I hand myself over, I am not coming out.
Though later that same day, Aaron Oxlade did hand himself in and was finally arrested. Though he initially responded to every question with no comment, he did begin confessing.
The time's 17:20, alright. You're under arrest on suspicion of rape of a female under 13. Okay, so you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned, something which you later will learn in court, and anything you do so may be given in evidence. Alright. The reason your arrest is necessary is to protect a vulnerable person, prevent any further harm or injury. Okay?
She's been messaging me all day, by the way.
Okay.
Well,
we're not going to keep things from you.
I know I haven't got legal assistance present, but I'm going to be honest with you straight up and say I'm guilty.
Okay. You're under caution, alright? Right. So whatever you tell me now may be used in evidence. Okay?
Yeah.
Alright.
There's no defence for it. You said own it, I'm owning it.
I don't read the newspaper. I don't really pay attention to the news. So when he was arrested, I had no idea. No idea. For months. Upon investigation, a phone was found containing several indecent images of children. On July the 19th, 2023, Aaron Oxlade was found guilty of 3 counts of rape of a child under the age of 13, 3 counts of possession of indecent images of children, and 1 count of a breach of a sexual harm prevention order back in September the previous year. He was sentenced to 11 years and 4 months in prison, with a 5-year extended license period for one of the counts of rape, totaling 16 years and 4 months that he will spend inside. However, it wasn't until July the 21st, 2023, when my entire world came crashing down and I finally found out the truth about someone that I thought I had known my entire life. I was tagged in a post on Facebook. I was picking up my partner from work. Get tagged in a post on Facebook, and that's how I found out. That's how I found out that my best friend of nearly 30 years was convicted of grooming and raping a child, indecent images of children, which was way beyond anything I could have ever imagined. Like, the initial allegation was bad enough, accessing that kind of content, but I never in a million years would have expected or believed that he was capable of physically doing anything like that to a child. And it completely broke me.
This case is one of the worst I have dealt with in my 7 years working in this unit. Aaron Oxlade abused his position to groom and manipulate his victim. The sentence handed down will hopefully help her to recover from the abuse that she suffered. I commend her for her bravery in coming forward and speaking out about this sickening individual. Despite Oxlade's guilty plea, I still don't think he is remorseful. I hope that this case and sentence show how seriously we deal with crimes of this nature. Our team will always strive to secure justice for anyone who finds the courage to come forward to us. Please know that we will listen to you, believe you and support you every step of the way. Finally, I'd like to say that this investigation was very much a team effort, and I thank all of the colleagues who were involved for their dedication and diligence, which meant Oxlade had no choice but to admit to what he did. I wish the survivor every success in rebuilding her life now the man who caused her such harm is behind bars.
I even reached out to some of his family for support, and I was appalled at the fact that they not only defended him, but they also blamed the girl, claiming that she elicited it and that she said that it was okay, even though this child was 11 going on 13 and Aaron was 30 going on 32. At that point, I just cut all ties with the family. I removed the Seeking Answers episodes with him in it, and on my other channel he was edited out of any cameo, any appearance. His ex is in the process of having their children's surname changed. It's still going to take a while. It made me reevaluate almost my entire childhood and in a way my entire life. When you really think about it, anytime I think of him now, which is the majority of my life, every DM, every birthday party, every day at school, every filming trip, every just going around to his house, and I still live in the same flat that he went to several times. I still live near where he lived. All those memories are there every time I got in the car. Any memory I now have that involves him, which is most of my life, all I can think of is what he did to that girl. And I can't help but blame myself for either not stopping his previous behaviour and not picking up on any of the signs. His family attended court and his mother was reportedly shocked and horrified to find out what he had done, but she continued to support him. While the judge told Aaron,
"You should be thoroughly ashamed of what you have done. It has become clear to me that is not so."
He himself has been described as a timid character in prison, who has found it a very difficult place to be, but is also supposedly very keen to cooperate with anything on offer during his time inside. Seeing his mugshot just didn't seem real. My Facebook suddenly blew up with people tagging each other, all schoolmates. And then seeing the arrest video, hearing this guy who I thought I knew not only carelessly confess to grooming a child, but blaming her. You can't even put it into words. Knowing Aaron as much as I do, he's not going to do well in there, especially because criminals don't take kindly to child predators. He's a not very confrontational person. Not long after, I actually applied to find out what prison he was in because I wanted to confront him face to face. This was something I felt like I had to do for my mental state. I had to close this chapter of my life, go and see him, tell him what I thought, try to find some answers. And it took a long time to get this information. It took about 10 weeks. And then eventually Aaron himself refused to give consent for me to know his whereabouts or to meet him. A part of me believed maybe he was feeling remorse, but I don't buy that based on the descriptions in court and based on his lack of empathy in the arrest. I think he's just scared. Good. But despite being best friends for nearly 30 years, sharing so many years and memories and extremely similar childhoods together, where it all went wrong and when that man died and this new sickening monster took over, is where I'm left. Seeking answers.
I feel like I have let you down in a way, and for that I apologise, but I hope you understand.
If you have been affected by any of the issues raised in this video, you can contact the Rape and Sexual Abuse Support Line at 0808 500 2222 or locate your closest Sexual Assault Referral Centre, which can be found in the description of this video. On March the 17th, 2024, I am running the Rome Marathon on behalf of the National Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children. The link for this fundraiser is also in the description if you're able to donate any amount of money in order to prevent horrific crimes like this from happening again.